can't wait for the last minute because there are massive shortages out there, not because there is not substance, it's because of the lack of labor to move the substance and the catastrophic cost of gasoline. But those are all other issues that affect what they call round table or dinner table politics. You know, the light bill, the water bill, all those things are what they call round table or dinner table politics. And that's the new coin now. American has digressed to 1987 again in their thinking, but not how they are viewing their laws. I always ask Lance and his wife, who is so far from us in our native land, to look at YouTube and some of the things that people all around us, and primarily within our government, within our courts, have lost their minds. All right, have lost their minds. They are now seeking their pound of flesh from those who get inebriated upon our roads. I'm not advocating. I'm advocating their pursuit, mad pursuit, and balancing the books in individuals who is torn up with anguish over the loss of a loved one for such a frivolous pursuit as alcoholism and over partying. Today, these things are catastrophic in our society. I know that's a big word. That's a word that I use frequently, and a word that maybe I should transform into something better. But individuals are seeking alcohol. Individuals are seeking over-the-counter medication. Individuals are seeking the shadow drugs. I'm just gonna be nice. I'm not gonna call it a war on drug. I'm not gonna call it. I'm not gonna get into that mix because those words are used to confuse the issue at hand, the problem. All right. So in this, a novel approach in Missouri, and I hope you had an opportunity to look at it, Lance. It came from a news TV program, which kind of shocked me in a morbid way because they usually bring nothing but bad news, but it's sad to see them advertise because that's what it was. KCTV Channel 5 in Missouri on November 6th interviewed Williams, a young lady in the state of Missouri, who was petitioning aggressively to move within her state a bill that would make an individual who commits a heinous crime. It's very heinous. Get drunk and get in an automobile. You ain't got no business doing that. Too many different ways you can get a ride, or just walk it off and chalk it to the game. It's cheaper. I'm trying to tell you, especially when you know you're drunk. It's cheaper to just say, hey, I'm going to put my keys in my pocket. I'm going to get on my phone, call me an Uber, or call one of my homeboys, or I'm going to get the city transit, or if the old lady ain't looking real close on her porch, I'm going to snatch her bike. God forbid, don't steal an old lady bike. I don't want Mr. Political out there saying steal an old lady bike. But there's too many other ways to get home than to get in that 4-ton automobile, that legal weapon, and take someone else's life. Don't do that. That's a no. No, that's not even on the checklist of how the hell I'm going to get home. So that's a mental no in your sober state. Hopefully it's embedded, so when you get drunk, it just pop out in your mind as your first response. Moving right along to the core issue is that this law, which we speak about, which we're going to speak about, and the dangers of it, not the emotional aspect of it, but the danger on it on an overburdened society that's looking for a remedy and a pound of flesh to pacify another group. Get what I'm saying?
Yes.
No mention of if that individual did cause that accident, if that individual did commit commit this heinous crime. Because I'm not going to say he did, because everyone is afforded their right to due process. In this circumstances, because they went panhandling, using the child as justifiable excuse, or the surviving child, because it's a 5-year-old grandchild of Miss Williams, who is petitioning and lobbying within Missouri to pass this law to make it possible that in these circumstances that these individuals pay child support until the child is 18 years old. The state is not responsible for that. If the individuals had a valid driver's license and moved to operating a vehicle, then the insurance company is responsible for that. That's deflection from the responsibility of the insurance company. And why is the state trying to collect death benefits for a child that they do not provide substance for? It's not the state's position nor your position that the incident that occurred in life. It's been occurring in life. And adding individuals such as child support onto it is not going to be a remedy to give you your pound of flesh to quench that fire of anguish which is inside of you. I know we live in a society that dictates responsibility. But dictation of responsibility is not that broad. It doesn't give you the right to inter an individual into indentured servitude for a mistake that they made. And 9 times out of 10, that intended servitude will be profited upon by the state. We already have massive amounts of money being mismanaged, embezzled, and misappropriated by these efforts within the realms of child support. These efforts violate due process and create indentured servitude. Yes, big word, indentured servitude. Google it. It is to be in prison without prison, to be restricted and to be held captive for a debt, for a period of time, based upon a ruling of court. Indentured servitude.
In a little bit, Dave.
This indentured servitude dates back to the 1700s in our country.
Dave.
The great deal of nations has been created by this indentured servitude, this creating of slavery, because that's what it is. They're using a heartstring to convince you that it's all right to enslave another individual. Yes, he may be guilty of that crime, but that is man's perception. And we have seen by the judicial court that they will fabricate, they will misrepresent, they will even mislead individuals to believe an individual has committed a crime. And then they will punish an individual, just as we are facing 3 weeks of an individual who's looking toward losing his life in Oklahoma. That they will even move forward when something is fabricated, when it's rigged, under a system that says it doesn't allow these things. This is Mr. Political telling you, if you support efforts to turn child support into death benefits, then you're a sick individual, that you're not seeking any help for that child. That is not the way. So Lance, you've heard my views on this.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you did your research. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing how America did that, because if this passed, could you just imagine imagine that's another young man that just had a heinous car accident. He played for the Raiders. I'm not really into sports, but he played football for the Oakland Raiders, and he in a whole lot of trouble. He done killed a woman and her dog. So, they gonna get him for that dog. There is.
Yeah, you're right.
Because they ain't really concerned about her. It's a done deal with her, but they gonna get him for that dog. Ask Michael Vick. He wasn't even there. He got it for the dog.
White man's best friend.
These are the times that we're living in. We got a lot of things going on. And Creepy Joe has finally seen the mountaintop. Him and Martin Luther King having breaking bread, all that good stuff. I know God gonna get me for that. But it's amazing how the Democrats have moved up the food chain just for a split moment. And right in the midst of the season, the economy is coming back. That is the perception. Because we've been told before, and even Condoleezza Rice says, look at surveys. So it's indicated by the media that the economy is getting robust. Yes, robust. But they're still having critical issues with the labor, and which, when it comes down to black people, should be a plus. Should be a plus now. There's an opportunity for us to shift the economic wealth that grows in our community, if there's any at all in the different areas that you are. But it's a great opportunity to shift somewhat in salary and living, but we're still left with racial issues on the table that people say don't exist. And silly conversations in our schools, we're still there. And don't forget COVID, because it ain't took a back seat. This ain't the 6 o'clock news. We won't have nothing new tomorrow, but COVID will be there tomorrow. But that's what we got going on in America.
Wow.
Yes, man. Y'all sit so silent like I'm the bearer of bad news. I don't know. I'm gonna read listen.
School is in. So
For real.
So basically, with this law, this Bentley's law, because I read several articles about it. I'm not the specialist. I'm not really used to analyzing things of such nature. But on the surface, I mean, to play devil's advocate, it sounds fair. In this particular case,
how's it fair?
Well,
how's it fair?
Well, you have a guy who David Thurby, was it Missouri, that he went out driving his vehicle drunk, right? And he rear-ended his family here and killed them. And there's a child that's surviving, and he killed the ones that's going to take care of him. So instead of a sentence, make him work to take care of that child. I mean, my thing is, they'll do something like this with the law, but they won't pay reparations to black folks, which we know that's not going to happen.
There you go, and that's my point. That's why this law is not needed. If you can find justification in this law, in any form or fashion in your mind as a black person, but you can't say reparations is owed, because that's what that is. That's a reparation.
But then also you have police that shoot us down, kill us, and acquitted, and they keep their jobs, or if they lose it when they're acquitted, the back pay. And those things take so long if they do get anything, and the damage is done. If we even get it. But this is a definite thing. But in concept, it's an individual thing, right? Because what's going to happen to that child if he doesn't have any family to pick up the slack? I just feel that
that's not the question. That's not the question, because you got to keep in mind, if you read the articles and the incident that occurred, that child is well maintained by the insurance, which covers that car accident.
Okay. Now you got me on that one.
So where is the necessary need for indentured servitude? other than looking for a pound of flesh, because once you label this person, they're going to have to hold that for a period of time. Even if they go to jail, which 9 times out of 10, they end up going to jail, you're not going to receive anything. So what are you going to do next? Because child support is connected to the Social Security Act of 1942, you're going to file suit against Medicaid. So you can make a levy upon that individual Social Security benefits because his most apparently 42, so we know he has sufficient credits within the system. See, it's getting out of hand.
Yeah.
You ain't looking for no help for the child, you're looking for a pound of flesh.
Oh, you right.
And if you're not careful, we're the ones that are going to suffer the most. Black folks are going to suffer the most.
They're going to swing it around somehow on more so.
Why would you state in one hand? Okay, let's say people got 2 hands. Because most parents, they ain't got 2 sides of their brain. But let's just imagine they got 2 hands. Okay, in one hand, you saying that you want fair and adequate justice within the justice system, which you know that's overwhelmingly corrupt, all the way from the minute they pick you up on the street to the prosecutor at the judge. You know this, but you want to go for debate because they wear a short skirt at the ball. Come on now. And I don't mean to get vulgar. If you don't want to take that as a misogynist term, I was told a long time ago, if you want to prove your point, the best say something shocking about that point, and then a person will pay attention.
Stop.
But if you try to ease it on them like it's Sunday morning breakfast without no service, where's service? Because something go on this. Something go on this. So you have to put it in the context where we're talking to Black people. Whenever I come on this show, I'm not gonna turn into my counterpart if it's such a creature within the multimedia. I'm gonna talk to you like you Black with a taint of a brother who mixed in Negro with a whole lot of different races and been all over the place and who hold his own as an individual man. I speak and I talk as such. I'm a free Black man. Got the DD-214 and the birth certificate and I'm a non-miscreant. Say what I want. Okay, bro, I don't owe nobody no taxes, don't owe no child support. And ain't in debt to the powers that be. Now, some say, well, you still ain't free. It all depends. When I go to bed at night, I think about what I want to think. About not what's left from today. Okay, and that's the difference. Now, in these circumstances, in the world that we're living in, that's not right. You can't form your mind as a Black person, understanding the judicial system, understanding child support, understand how it is reflected to us in our everyday going. We find ignorance in this field. And if you got that much time, discuss the earned income credit and why it's not considered as part of your earned income when you're qualified for certain public assistance, when that's a guaranteed stipend, and now you've made it a guaranteed monthly stipend. So why is that not considered as income, and why does it not reflect in this child support? If you want, I'm just picking right now.
But these are good points that you bring up because, like I said,
I'm picking right now.
No, but especially with child support, that's what you specialize in. So it's good to break it down that way.
When the law requires 50-50 custody, when he's already deemed because of our ethnic beliefs, okay. And I'm going to be realistic, and I'm putting this on the table. Most Black lawyers won't talk in this realist. He'll just tell you what you did wrong, but he's not going to talk in a realist. The minute you stick your pecking in her, you ain't got no right. Only right you got to alleyway from her.
It's like you have the car, brand new car off the lot. No. You get a car. You try to cut the car short of its credit. At least with the car, it has redeemable value.
water, you move the weight away so you take it. He said, take a drink. So I'm going to take a big old mouthful. Least with a car. You get something back on the tires when you trade it in. You get something back on the battery when you change it in. Because you know the battery is the heart. Now, if you need some relationships, you can't even trade that heart in. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just trying to keep it with. Now, you got windshield wipers. But see, with the windshield wiper, if you use that in the metaphor, it's the reflection of the clarity that you saw in that relationship. And as them wipers went back and forth in the midst of storm, in the midst of love bugs, and Lance know what I'm talking about with a love bug. A love bug will mess up all your sight.
For real. Here they come.
You be blind, you be buying cars, houses, you be renting stuff in other people's names. Everything go wrong when the love bug come out in the state of Florida. You look at relationships. And I'm sorry to be so blunt. I'm sorry to be so harsh about the issue. But that is something that's been absent from these conversations when we talk about child support. What we do is we call and we have a resurrection of Barry White. And we bring out the 36-piece orchestra and we talk about the woes of that lady on that stage. And all the while, Barry White is talking all sweet and the necessary need to romance her ego, to stroke her mind, to pacify her ignorance. The band plays on. The orchestra gets loud and smooth. But it seems like this music never ends. It seems like it does not become soothing to the ear nor the palate. And as it grows, when it comes down to individuals such as Black Americans, when they have their children out of wedlock, it's a very noisy performance. The noisy performance is the minute you stick your peck in there, you have no right. So you will to get on that monkey without a glove on, pity the fool. But even a fool needs to act. Because it ain't nothing about love, ain't got nothing to do with appropriation, ain't got nothing to do about being together, because you the last, you didn't get the memo, you was somewhere else when they had the meeting before the meeting concerning your sperm. Because you're the only one that ain't got a voice in this conversation. But you're the one that's got to clean up after everybody leaves and party. You the one got to guard the door, make sure that nobody don't break in. You the one that got to keep the walls painted. Because they still gonna slaughter your name just like they put it on the temple wall. But this too shall pass. Just like all good things in America, this too shall pass. Because there is some changes. But this Miss Williams from Missouri, you need to sit down, Sister Guy. You need to sit down. You need to reevaluate your position as a grandmother. And this is from one of your local homeboys of another color telling you that you barking up the wrong damn tree and you got your cart from Safeways in the wrong damn lane. And you need to back up. You need to step off. All those colonial terms that tell most of all Americans at this age that they're doing something critically wrong. This law is not going to benefit anyone. All it's going to do is create another growing underclass. All it's going to do is put injury on top of insult. And all it's going to do is make a future generation of children unloved. That's all it's going to do. And when legislators cannot think this far out the box to address the issue of one anguish over the loss of another one, and this is supposed to be the Band-Aid, help hold their foot catch on fire and turn green and fall off. Because this is not the way. America has problems. We're looking at another in 2020 this occurred. This individual was stopped in North Carolina Now, when the news reported it as he was stopped for a tail light. But if you dig a little deeper, come to find out, yes, he was stopped for a tail light. Yes, the tail light was out. Yes, when he stopped the car, he fled the scene. Yes, in the process of fleeing the scene, he was shot 5 times in the back. And then a stage struggle occurred, and this individual officer ended up in jail. But they didn't tell you the underlying.
Brother down in North Carolina.
Yeah, because I'm a firm believer in Bobby Womack, and he tells us dig a little deeper, and you find out some things. So I dig a little deeper to my leisure time. Yeah. Come to find out, he had a warrant out for him for child support. He had already been to jail 2 previous times on stops for child support. Not saying that initially got him killed, but we truthfully know that he did have a stoplight out. But maybe, perhaps, like lawyers do, he didn't want to go back to jail. He didn't want to go through the purge process again because he had already had a rack up of $18,000 for the 2 previous times that he was stopped and sent to jail, and he lost his job. So in actuality, the child lost $18,000, but the state gained $18,000 on their books. But the child didn't benefit anything, but this was all done in the name of the child. Constant harassment and stop. Emotional pacification for the mother. Her own sense of empowerment, because she has her own speed dial mafiosa on dial. All she got to do is lodge a complaint. Steady employment for contract attorneys and district attorneys who want to make a show of force for being strong on child support. Isn't that ironic? I'm gonna lock your daddy up, and I'm strong on child support. You still ain't got nothing. That's my rationality. All it is a bunch of binary numbers. Every now and then they kick out a check after they get their cut. That's what child support is, good people. This young man in North Carolina, even though he fled from the scene, like the rest of America, he had child support issues, and it's constantly on his head every night that he goes to bed. Child support, and going on almost 2 decades, has been into effect, put into legislation, has proven that it has not strengthened the family, nor has it assisted the family, but it has assisted a whole another form of industry. Child support is big business. It's like Big Blue back in the 70s. And you know what happened to Big Blue. So prepare yourself, good people. Excuse me. It's a little nip. Prepare yourself, good people, for an awakening of American men when it comes to child support. That all other issues have been addressed during this COVID and assist. Now we know for a fact that when assistance went out during COVID, that men stimulus, if that's what we may call it, was seized. It was very little indication about the amount of stimulus checks that were seized from women. Now that it's coming out that there's a great deal more women on child support as men, that's a good thing. But how the cases are handled, how the cases are sanctioned, disciplined, constructed, there is always some bias in that. that if a woman abandons her child, then she's going through an emotional issue, and she deserves service from the system. If a man, because of his economic situation, because of whatever issues he has, falls short and take care of his job, their only remedy is to send him to jail. But they will find thousands of dollars not to send the woman to jail, not to go out and seize the woman. Because see, once you make it visual to a society that has been programmed to believe that indentured servitude is all right, you cannot reflect the poster child as being one of the defendants. You can't portray her in that manner. If you portray her in that manner, then all goes for naught, and you lose the momentum of the programming because people start asking questions which you don't have answers for, or you are unwilling to surrender to individuals. So that's child support as we know it. They say it's fair across the board, and it may on paper, but everything in America on paper looks fair until you have to go through it. Yeah, just like Nancy, they got a 12-page document on this one bill. I can't even pronounce this bill. I want to build back better. I believe. I just call it the BBB because I'm not going to wrestle with that. So, in this conversation, when I talk about this bill and I go BBB, it means build back better. An enactment which was part of the negotiation deal between individuals on Capitol Hill for an infrastructure bill, which passed and not overwhelmingly in favor of the American people. Now, some would say that's some white people stuff. In actuality, yes, but we're a little bit broad. So it's a little room for growth there. There's a little room for growth there, infrastructure-wise. Those communities that need new schools and libraries, who need roads, who needs to remove copper piping systems, who need to streamline their water treatment systems so they can get a higher rating with the EPA on the quality of water which is provided in their areas. At the same time, it gives strength to government and emergency response systems and emergency ambulance services and police and fire department. Even in the midst of the ignorance by the lower fraternity of law enforcement, we still need our police. You have heard me say many a time, defund, reform. These are words which are used to get the ignorance who become comfortable in their position to pay attention that there's a critical issue that needs to be discussed between the two parties. These words open up dialogue. The dialogue is not to defund the police. They're a necessary evil. Look that one up. It's like voting. It's a necessary evil. But redefining it, reforming it, that's a whole nother issue. These things are possible. Every day in Trump on Sunday, and in between the credits in the movie that you didn't want to go to with your sweetheart. All these things are possible. So we need this infrastructure bill from the Black American standpoint, where that we can look at it as a stepping stone to self-sufficiency for those individual communities in case of emergency disasters or catastrophic economic downfall and shortages. Take this opportunity in core leadership to reevaluate standings in your area, and to look at it realistically and not under the framework of what Mr. Charlie is doing for his, but in the framework of getting yours off its knees. That is the goal. To take whatever we can out of this infrastructure bill and to work aggressively to become self-sufficient in case of strife. This is the prime opportunity. When it comes to the second half of the deal that the two devils made with each other, the Build Back Better, BBB bill, I see nothing positive. I see that will not pass. That this gimme was to get Joe Biden's ass and his head out of his ass. To put him in the light so we can try to get to the first of the year. Because it's going to be a rough Christmas. Because it's going to be shortage, it's going to be cold, it's going to be no gas, it's going to be messy. And Joe knows this. So, just because it looks shiny for a little bit, don't think it's gold, nor silver, nor platinum. Okay? It ain't even good nickel. It's just shiny. Right? I don't know what to say to people. I'm just full of happiness.
Well, you're not trapped. You didn't stick your thing in something that trapped you up.
Yeah, you know, America, I'm out here and the wind is blowing and I love being out in the air. My doctors tell me it's not good for me, but I love being out in the woods, you know, in the trees. Today is a good day to go fishing in Florida. It's a very good day to go fishing. Don't have a boat today. Don't have accessibility to a boat, so I guess I'll have to watch it on TV. I guess that's what we do now. Yeah, because any given time you can go on any given 120, because I got cheap cable, 120 channel. You can find the fish. You can find the fishermen out there at any time. It's grand. But it's beautiful today. I can't believe how beautiful. It's not a cloud in the sky. It's a little crisp. At this time of year, not until late into the year, our trees have green leaves on them. But when they drop, oh, it looks like scarecrow heaven around here. It does. So what is the weather like there?
Over here in a crowd.
Yes.
Need you ask?
Because I know they got weather too, don't they?
Oh yeah, but it's hot all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But not
all the time.
Yeah, but not hot, not the way in America, right? Like it's just so stable. And it's not a heat that when it gets hot here for real, hot. It's a new kind of hot that you can't compare to. Yeah. See. Like you go places that are dry, like Charleston, you know, South Carolina. That's that slave heat. But see, this heat is that free heat because ain't got no slavery going on with it, right? Even though they talk over here. It's a different kind of heat.
They got cotton down there in Charleston. Maybe some of that East Coast virus stuff. You know what I'm saying? They got cotton down there. I want some of them hot. You know.
No, but it's nice. It's nice. Now, when the temperature is at its highest, then, you know, it can be something to deal with. But once you're acclimated to it, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, that's the trick. Mm-hmm.
I got a question. Maybe one of you two. I had noticed in the last year everyone says grand rising.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed that's becoming a very popular greeting. And I found myself using it, but not understanding why are we using it. Explain what that is and how did it come about?
Okay. We understand from English, words and spellings that morning is just what would you say, a derivative of actually mourning. So when we say good morning, it's too closely associated with grieving. Good morning. So hence grand rising, great awakening, grand awakening. Good to be alive, as opposed to good to be grieving or mourning. You know what I mean? You wake up, you're here, everything works. Faculties, limbs, everything is in good condition. Everyone is present and accounted for. And so we use the term grand rising, great awakening, grand awakening.
I like that.
Yeah.
That might work, man. We just had a sudden wind burst, and I had to think, oh, God, my pictures are everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Wind blowing everything.
Oh, wow.
It's that time of year.
True.
We love it. Because I brought the pit out. I have some people over Wednesday for the game. It'll be UCF versus Florida State.
Mm.
And we're big football people. I went to UCF. So I'll put out the pit in a little buffet, and it'll be cold, and we'll sit out the lawn chairs.
And some blankets.
Well, blankets for the ladies. We'll get them in the hot toddies.
Okay.
Regal, got skin and stick. Got all your And we're going to have a 70-inch screen outside in the backyard. So that's got it's fun. Social distancing, you understand? Social distancing. And we have a good time. It's a nice night out, and you don't have to worry about nobody shooting up nothing.
Okay.
It's a private party.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. Well, that's all that's left at our age because it's not worth it to go out anymore. Even if it was worth it to go out, it's not the same environment.
Right.
It's not an environment. It's an environment of stupid luxury instead of class. And there is such a thing. Most people don't know that you could have the finest bottle of champagne, you can have the most expensive garment on you, but if you ain't got no class in your gutter, you just a two-bit helper that got in through the back door, even though she walked through the front door in Prada. Okay?
Oh my God.
It's true. Most of us, look, half of these young ladies, and I hate to be critical, but maybe if they evaluated, maybe if they took a piece of paper, okay, next time they want to watch Atlanta Housewives or any of those programs, The Boss, or any of those programs where these are supposed to be empowered women. An empowered woman, the minute she walks in the door, just her pure presence at the door reeks of class. She don't have to buy class. She don't have to paste class on her. You know what I'm saying? Back in my day, a classy woman was like Felicia Rashad. She walked into the room, her and Debbie Allen, or who else would be a good one? Alina. Women who had class that you didn't mind opening the door for, just to you give your hand to her. Just
right.
These right here, these painted clowns, these Mattel toys. Who? What? once you get what you want, discard them. That's not real. Because once you get her home, it was a movie by Robert Town, and in this movie, talking this guy who was in the army, who was a virgin, who wanted to sleep with his girlfriend, to go out to the club and beat him some woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he followed the boy lead, and he there with it and everything, and he finally hit the jackpot. And he got this house, and she was pretty much tight work. Bit too skinny for me, but she was tight work. So he didn't put the bug in her ear. He didn't big stuff the suit. Now he got suit because it's dripping wet, right? So he's ready, right? So they get ready to do the dirt. And in the process, she take off her leg. And nothing wrong with people being handicapped. You know, that happens. They still they love you just the same. So don't even, let's not go there. And then once she put her leg aside, she rubbed the nerve and said, then she took off her arm. And I ain't got nothing wrong with cousin pleading because people got multiple injuries because of the emergency. I ain't got nothing wrong with that. That's all good because they're human being, they God pictures of God and all like that.
Wow.
But then she took her left arm and left hand, and she took off her wig. And I got nothing against bald head helpers, you know, they got their head on ate up because they tried to glue their brains in and tried to sew in some common sense. I ain't got nothing against that. Look, they much woman as the next one. Just what I say, she do the dirty, she bit over, touch, so all that. Right? She's just as good. Okay? You caught up, you got one leg and one arm and no hair, but you're still in the game. You're still in the game, girl. I'm your team player. And this guy said, next thing you know, she take out her teeth. There's a lot of benefits in that. I'm trying to not be morbid about the conversation because you know all the brothers out there is listening to me. They say this brother is finding all good things in the trails of tears. He trying to find something good in the trails of tears because he want to be all up in there. He want to be all up in it, right? Next thing you know, he hit the bottom line. She took out her color of her eyes. Then she took off her eyelash. Then that heifer went and reached across the table and got her tissue and she took off all her war paint. The moral of the social breakdown of her equipment, her tactical gear, it was fair. Her tactical gear. Because if you got to go through all that to get a man, you might want to check and see if he underweight. You might have to throw that one back.
I know, but you know, I want to tell you that whole breakdown is from an old Jamaican joke from back in the 60s. Yeah, that whole breakdown is from a comedian. Well, it was two of them, Bim and Bam, and they did, you know, they were talking to each other, and one was telling the other one how this woman that he met, you know, and he took her home, and she basically, everything that you're saying, took off her leg, took off her hand, took off her hair, took out her eye, took out her teeth, but she put them in the dresser drawer, you know. So that whole breakdown, yeah, it's, it's, you know, it's like, who am I going to? Am I going in the dresser drawer with what's in the drawer, or am I coming in the bed with what's left in the bed, you know? So, yeah.
That's what most of American men are facing right now. They got like 3 brothers out there that's making a fortune. I tune in. I see what's changing. I see what the questions are. And what I am viewing as a conscious person, okay? And yes, I have my own bias because I am a man of the beginning of what we call the black sexual revolution. Yeah, it was a black sexual revolution. That's when Lyndon B. Johnson came up with some bull crap and took the girl instead of ass. or in a split in the family, she decided she'd go out on her own. And that's cool. That's cool, because that's what you want to do, but you forgot one important thing, is when you open up that door and you go out that door closed just like it's open. And that means that you shouldn't be using that as an anthem in the streets to justify your existence and elevation of social services. It was two in that bed. Somebody told you the day that you cut blood. Somebody told you the day that you cut blood that you could get pregnant. Somebody had to tell you. It wasn't even the cotton underwear that you were so finely close to every day. Somebody told you you could get pregnant. At the same time, another one told you you can keep it. Another one told you you can get rid of it. But at the same time, that's your body. That's you. Do as you want, as you see fit. With the exception of enslaving people. That's not what your body was created for. That's not what that was created for, not for your pleasure and then look for compensation later on because you want to be irresponsible about your actions. Because I was there from 79 to the present day telling young men to strap it up, abstain. And it was a novel approach because if you don't give her none, she can't get none. But now we done seen the script flip and the other shoe drop, and they get more and tax it more. It's turned into a multi-million-dollar business, and it's all in the pursuit of freedom, equality. But there is no equality there because that's a pimp game. If you got all the gas in the only car in town, why the fuck we need gas for it? That's what I want to know. And if I got it twisted, you tell me. If you got all the gas and the only car, what the hell we need gas for? For real. Because if everything is on you, you make the ultimate choice. Shouldn't it be, well, if you chose to keep this baby knowing that he don't want this baby, then you financially supposed to take care of this baby. If you choose to keep the baby, because you know he's saying he's not going to pay for this baby. So why are we going after somebody that you chose? Nobody forced him upon you. You could have looked all the way to the North Pole up the candy list. And not get pregnant, not lick until you go down to the lab. But you decided to ride the monkey. And that's what comes with you riding the monkey. So now you got a baby. That was your choice. Because at any time in American history, you don't have to get pregnant. There's too many other ways to stop from getting pregnant. So back again, it falls on her. Because she knows she want to get her jolly. So she knows she get her jolly that she gonna get pregnant because the statistics been out for 2 decades. They ain't trying to take care of no baby. They ain't trying to take care of no baby. They just trying to get a hold to that monkey. And she the last one to know who in the household ain't told her about the monkey. Still. So back again, we go back. Who ain't telling her about the monkey? The one who got on the monkey that brought her to this world. So she ain't having that conversation about the monkey, but she the first to go down to the social services and say that monkey ain't take care of that. But she ain't having that conversation with her daughter about the monkey that ain't gonna take care of something when she come over and get on that monkey.
True.
You follow my drip here? Because we're talking 3 decades that she been head of the household. You can check her tax. You can check her tax status. I seen a post one time. Blew my mind. If I am responsible for everything that go wrong, then why y'all keep messing with me? That's not right. If everything in your life that went wrong, I did just by my pure presence and being involved with you, then why did you mess with me? Somebody had to have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Mama had that conversation with me. God bless the dead, I love her to death. My mother was a very hard woman. She was a modern woman. Okay? Not from the standpoint of a Southern woman, not from the standpoint of the East Coast woman, not from the standpoint of a Midwest or a Southwest, but from a California type of woman. Now, they're a whole different type of breed of woman. There's something to marvel from a distance, because if you touch it, you're going to get bit. Going to take your head slapped right off. They're not to be trifled with. They're not to be played with. Ain't no hit and run. Ain't no home. Ain't errands. Ain't no Dave Rules. Ain't none of that. No Roger Stark. None of that. You go around there. She watching you from the minute that you cut your lips. And she looking at your shoes. So if you don't get past those two, you got problems. We ain't talking about spending no money. Money is the trial and tribulation. Getting some. Yeah, you can get some. You and 15 other ones. Because trust me, you ain't the only fish in the sea. And she exercises sexual prowess. Like most women exercise their sexual prowess. And most men don't want to understand. The quieter she is, the more precise she is about her what she do, the more she gets you don't know nothing about. You don't know nothing about. Trust me. It'll walk right up to you, be in your face. You don't know nothing about it. That's real talk. Now, if you mess with a little girl, you know all her little business. Everybody know her business. You go to the IHOP, go take a whiz, and you just lean over against the wall, and while you dream your lizard, you can read about her business. For real. Grown women? No, you'll never even know. You don't even have a clue. It'll be right there in the text message you won't even know.
Damn.
And if she real swift, it won't even be in text message because it won't be no paper, digital, whatever trail. They kind of party. That's real. And even to the young brother out there, when a woman says she broke, don't believe that. That's the last thing in the world you want to believe. First thing you want to believe is that you're the best she ever had.
Mr. Political.
Roy Rogers says that. It's just like meat on the hook. That's how it is. Men need to wake up. And I'm always amazed when I talk to some of the younger ones. And even more amazed when I talk to the seasoned veteran. He's more ignorant than anybody else. And I don't know if it's from hopelessness or constantly being bombarded by standards, by the multimedia, where he's supposed to be at a certain age. Maybe just total, I don't want to call it depression, but it's like, I'm done. You know, you ever get to that point as a man, you say, hey, I'm done. I want no more part of it. And it seems to be epidemic that they're done. The things that our grandfathers used to do to pull up the slack, they just say, hell, I'm not going to do it. They're not going to do it. Lance, I'm going to have to go, but I want to close this out with one more case that I forgot about.
Yes.
Concerning that we're going to look at. I'm almost completed with the slideshow for the chat room. So everyone out there, some time ago we said we were going to give you some information in the slideshow form for the chat room. It's almost completed. We've had some holidays, some other things going on. So I work for a living, people. All right. Thank you very much. Now, it'll be down the road very soon. But this last case is an unusual one. One that kind of blows my mind, like a lot of things blow my mind, is that now, because people are interacting in relationships and there are so many broken relationships and beginning relationships, now that the child support feels that any individual that gets involved after the child is born to another individual should be charged with child support. So if you out there, you get the monkey, they want a piece of you hitting that monkey. You know, if you come over every night, then you want to leave something for the state every night. See, this is why I say mammies. They don't understand how their children and themselves are being prostituted by a system. That the system is constantly programming you in and out, telling you this is in the best interest of your children. This has got to be done so your women can have this, and we can have this fantasy of the American family, which we know is never coming back. That was created by Hollywood, GMG. It was created by Warner Brothers. It was created by the motion picture industry. But then it was propagated by the TV industry. This illusion of this perfect family. And when they sold it to you in hopes of getting control of the budget, because that's what it was about. It wasn't about the concern of the women. It wasn't concerned about the children. It was a talking point, just like I have shown today with the individual that's being pursued in the DUI case, that the individual who was murdered by the police, and he had a warrant, and what kind of psychological effects it has on individuals when it comes down to the law, and whether or not they can continue paying the price of indentured servitude. Even though the case was clearly about him being stopped over his traffic light, but his fact still remained the same. It still remained the same, and it was not brought off, just like in this circumstances, the pursuit of Tennessee and Missouri and other individuals within that area, states within that area, to try to benefit, in-depth benefit, relationships. There's wholesale prostitution, and the women are too willing to participate in this under the talking point because it gives them no responsibility for their moral decline. It gives them a justification for that piece of crumb that Lazarus throws from the table. We can all be disgusted by this. We can all be confused on why this is occurring and our children being used as the rallying point in the waiting of the flag. But at the same time, can we all stand in agreement that this must not be part of legislative laws within our country? Can we all agree that we must find a more novel solution other than making our children the talking point of justification of impoverishing their parents and their fellow citizens? America has a long way to go and has a mission. Not those who wave the flag from Capitol Hill, not those who wave the flag from big business, but those who live under the tyranny of those two oppressors who use the flag. We, as the American people, we as Black people in America, unfortunately, we have bred an offshoot that has lost its mind, the Afro-American. He will make these decisions on what is his children and what their moral standards and economic support should be. I asked the Afro-American to give his brain a chance, look at the issue at hand in a critical manner, not in an emotional manner. Lance, that is my closing. It's been a lovely day, and it's always a better day when you're in good company. As we move forward and count down these final days of this ugly, horrible year, I look forward to walking across that plane with you and your lovely wife. I look forward to facing those endeavors which challenge our people each and every day. So, to all my brothers out there in the land of Oz, yes, I called it the land of Oz. Have a good day.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Mr. Critical. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And my new word, Grand Rising.
Grand Rising, sir. Thank you.